The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Women's Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericawomen.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having just an amazing day. I'm excited to be leaning in and connecting with each and every one of you today. I just hope that this holiday season is really just unveiling and opening up in a beautiful way for you, and that you are having the opportunity to be mindful, to pause, breathe, be very present in the middle of the holiday season. And sometimes it can feel a little bit like a storm or just start to get really hectic. And so I'm honored and so appreciate that you are finding a pause in the busyness of the season to tune in and spend some time with us today. And I can assure you it is going to be so worth the time. You will be uplifted and encouraged by our conversation today. So thank you for joining us. This is part of a 4-part series that we're doing. It's a special series that we are focused on our forthcoming book. It'll be released on December 5th, The Grandmother Legacies. And I have been on a journey with the amazing co-authors that are part of this book. I'm the compiler, which means I get to lead the project. And it has been such an honor and such a privilege to walk beside these amazing individuals as they share their legacy messages, their legacy stories. And some of them are sharing from the perspective as a grandmother. What is the legacy they are wanting to leave the world? They are wanting to leave their families. They are wanting to pass on to future generations. Others, you're hearing from a granddaughter's perspective of a legacy that their grandmother passed on to them. And yet we also have the perspective of mothers, that a piece of advice or an experience or wisdom or a legacy that has been passed on to mothers who they are now passing on to their daughters. And in turn, we are passing them on to you. And I have been so touched by the power of their stories, the messages. They have been transformational for my heart and my life and in my journey, and have reminded me over and over and over to be present, to really focus in on what matters most, because we are creating our legacies every day. We are having legacy messages and stories and wisdom poured into us every single day. And sometimes we're moving so quickly, we miss them, or we forget some of our purpose. We forget what matters most. And so today, I know you're going to get just some great wisdom, tips, and ideas of ways to have powerful legacies in your life, things that matter most to you, and purposely passing them on, because they don't just happen by accident. We can live in a purposeful way and share and impact people by giving them those things that matter most to us and taking time to connect deeply and share them. And that's, to me, what this book has become. The Grandmother Legacies. And so I'm going to remind you several times during the call today to mark a date on your calendar, and that's December 5th. That's when we're going to be releasing this book to the world. And the reason that's such a special day is we're going to have a super special deal because we are so committed to getting this book into as many hands as possible. to really impact as many lives and hearts as we can. When we first launch and release it on Amazon, it'll be under the Grandmother Legacies. We'll have special links and things that we'll share as we get closer. But December 5th, we're going to be able to offer it for a special rate of $1 US dollar for that day. And we're going to offer it for about 24 to 72 hours at that special rate. And I don't want anyone to miss out on it because I love a great deal. I feel like that's a way we can give back and really support as many people as we can around the world. So that's why I'm going to invite you to write that date on your calendar, be watching for our messages and our reminders about that date and links, etc., so you can take advantage of that special rate and special opportunity. And during this 4-part series, I wanted you to get the opportunity to know these amazing women that I've gotten to know over the course of the year as we've been putting this book together. I want you to get to know them a little bit, kind of the heart and the voice behind the book and the powerful words and wisdom that they share in their stories, in their chapters. And so today, we're going to be talking with 4 of our co-authors, and we're going to ask them about why this project, what touched them within this book, and why were they compelled to be a part of it, and then what their chapter title is, and some things that you could look forward into their book, in their section in this book, as well as some wisdom and piece of advice for today as we're looking at stepping forward powerfully and on purpose in our lives. Doesn't that sound like a great, exciting time to spend together, to really pause, listen, connect, and learn from one another? So welcome to our time together. I'm very honored to have you joining us, and I know that you're going to be richly blessed by this special 4-part series all around the Grandmother Legacies. But to get the most out of our time together, it's really important that we pause and become fully present. So those of you who are driving, please stay safe. Keep both hands on the wheels, no texting and driving, eyes open, just inwardly tuning in. But those of you who are able to, I invite you to sit back in your chair, really feel it supporting you, both feet on the floor. Take a deep breath, breathing in through your nose. Make your belly really big, out through your mouth, like through a straw. And keep breathing, and as you're doing that deep breathing, put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head, close your eyes, you're absolutely safe. Wonderful. And in this quiet space, as you're breathing, this kind of breathing actually helps you become present, reduces stress, lowers cortisol levels, and helps clear some of that clutter and distraction we can have in our minds. And in this quiet, safe space, I want to just ask you a question. What is it that you need today? What is it that will encourage you, empower you, help you be present, support you real time right now? What is it you need to step into those things that matter most to you, even in the busyness of the season? What is it that you need? Beautiful. And then I'm going to dial this question up a little bit. So adding on to that you are willing to receive, because we have choice. So what is it that you need and are willing to receive? Beautiful. Just receive that information. Take another breath. Come back into the room. Eyes open, fully present. And I invite you to write it down. Write down what it is that you need and are willing to receive. So you can keep it top of mind, real time. Be actively on the lookout for that. Because I believe the legacies that we are creating every day with our choices and how we're connecting with others can be done so in a purposeful way. But it takes that pausing, it takes that breathing, and it takes choosing to move forward in those things that matter most to you. And we can sometimes miss those things we need that are right in front of us because we get distracted. We forget to look. We forget to be open to receiving. And sometimes we're a little attached to how it's supposed to come versus perhaps the way that need is being met and coming in. So I'm going to invite you to be open and lean into our conversation. I know there is something of great value that will be here for you today in our conversation. So lean in, take a breath, and let me go around our virtual room here. I want you to just get a little bit of a flavor of who's in the room, who's joining us in the conversation today. So Kimmy, I would love to give you a moment, just 20 seconds to just share something that was laid on your heart when we paused, breathed, and listened.
The holidays and dealing with people who have all kinds of triggers for me over my lifetime, and this is my first time holding Thanksgiving at my house with my family, and so I'm open to receiving just gentle reminders to breathe in love and remembering the intention for my day with my family of experiencing love.
Beautiful. I lift that up, and I love the gentle reminders that we're open to that and that we're asking for that. We don't need those really strong, harsh ones. So really,
yes, exactly.
It was just very loving, gentle reminders. Beautiful. And I just hope you have a beautiful and really special Thanksgiving Day with your family. Beautiful. Thanks. Catherine, how about you? Did you have something laid on your heart?
Yes. I consider myself a borderline hoarder. And the last couple weeks, I've gotten myself to start organizing. But I need the focus to keep on going. And what I really need is the support of my husband, Tony, because he looks in a room and he'll go, oh, and know that it stresses him out and then it stresses me out. So just knowing I have his support to go forward with my organization will help me accomplish it.
Oh, beautiful. I just lift that up too, because sometimes there's that progress that we're making that isn't always seen. And so I'm just lifting up that that progress is seen and celebrated, and that you're given encouragement in that, because when we're tackling big projects like that, especially during a holiday season, support is so important. So we give that to you today as we connect heart to heart.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Carrie, how about you? What was laid on your heart?
To trust the process. I'm learning a new art medium, and I had asked the universe to show me something that would allow me to get beyond my color inside the lines mentality. And I stumbled across this, and I need to remember to trust the process, that the art that I'm making can be inspired by the way other people do it, but my own unique style will show itself, and to trust that that is going to happen, instead of looking at what I do and go, oh, that looks like somebody else's stuff, or I don't like that, or I wish I'd do better. It's a process. It's an exploration, and to just allow myself to take the ride instead of trying to direct it.
Yes. I was thinking we do that in so many things. So I love that. Just lifting up, trusting the process, and even having joy in the discovery of the process. I just lift that up, and we support you in that. And I can't wait to see as your voice and your way of expression comes forth in that as you're trusting the process. Beautiful. And I love that we've kind of moved into art, so it's really perfect, Trina, that we have you. And I would love to have you share what was laid on your heart.
Oh, hi, Rebecca, and hello, everyone. What was laid on my heart is I'm feeling extremely grateful right now, and I'm grateful that we have a way to hear each other through this amazing technology that we can speak our truths, and I can't wait to hear the other ladies, my co-authors, speak their truth and share their wisdom. So I'm feeling grateful for this way to connect deeply, and to me that's really, really a gift.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing, all of you, heart to heart as we connect in and listen. And listeners, I hope there was something that touched your heart as we paused for a moment and really reflect on what is it that we need, or perhaps are thankful for, and celebrating and giving ourselves a moment in time to really sink into that and appreciate that and connect in. And as we go into our first commercial break, I want to invite you gently and lovingly to resist the urge to run and cross things off your to-do list. I'm going to invite you to stay present, really pause and breathe. Give yourself the gift of these 2 minutes and really thinking about what is it that I need. Perhaps lifting up one of our amazing experts that you just heard some of what they're wanting lifted up and needing support in. And I am very thankful to be connecting in with each of you. Very excited to share these amazing individuals with you. I know you're going to be encouraged, your heart will be touched, and your spirit will be quickened by our conversation. But give yourself the gift of these next 2 minutes to pause, breathe, be still, and let whatever it is that you need speak into your heart. And we will look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Voice America Women. Your passion starts here. Tune in to the Just Jan TV show at justjantvshow.com. Visionary women's leader Jan Jorgensen is inspiring, practical, and visionary. Jan brings us everyday transformational emerging leaders, courageously changing the world by speaking and living their truth. Sit around the table with us for profound feminine wisdom, insights, and connection. Be sure to join us at justjantvshow.com. New episodes are every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time at justjantvshow.com.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
For women, the pressure to achieve is stronger, the work hours longer, and the struggle for respect and authority more complex than ever. You want guidance on how to succeed, and you are not alone. You're invited to take your coffee break with Game Changers on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern for our special series, Game Changing Women. Powerful women leaders will help you make sense of it all, analyze how you can change the game, and share their playbooks. Game Changing Women, presented by SAP on the Business Channel.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had an opportunity to take this 2 minutes just for you to pause, breathe, and listen to what's being spoken into your heart and into your spirit. What a gift when we can remember to pause, breathe, and listen. And this next section, you got to hear earlier a little bit from each of our authors and what was laid on their heart. In this section, we're going to talk about why this book called to them, why they leaned into being part of the Grandmother Legacies, and they're going to share, unveil, the title of their chapter. So we're going to share that during this section. And I just briefly wanted to share a little bit about why this project meant a lot to me and why I wanted to create this book. I was blessed to have 4 grandmothers that really impacted my life in a variety of ways, and the seeds they planted have led to the work that I do today and get to do in the world around empowerment and lifting others up. And I frequently at my events will talk about my grandmothers and share some of their stories, and also in interviews. And that's actually how I started my speaking career in the empowerment world, was talking about the wisdom that my grandmothers passed on to me. And what I found is that when I did that, other people started coming forth and sharing about their grandmothers and the imprint they had left on their life and the inspiration and how they had impacted their life. And as we were looking at bringing another anthology, another book project forward, we really felt led to bring forward the Grandmother Legacies. So many of these legacies, many of these stories could be captured together, because I found when we shared, not only was that an impact in my life, but it impacted others, and we were able to pass that blessing on. So to me, really, this book is so meaningful, and it's really an honor to have co-authors lean in and trust their legacy stories to us and have us come together so we can bring this rich book forward, sharing all of their legacies. And you will see some of my grandmother legacy stories in it as well. So let's open up our hearts as we get to meet some of our amazing co-authors and hear a little bit about why they said yes, why they leaned into this book, and they'll unveil their chapter. So the first expert I wanted to introduce to you is Catherine Lobb, and she is a turquoise angel guide, a radio show host, a 9 times best-selling author, spiritual guide, and speaker. And she is absolutely passionate about helping you reach your potential no matter what. Please lean in, and warmly welcome the amazing Catherine Lobb to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here and excited to always be with you.
I echo that and receive that. I echo it back to you. I love spending time with you, and I'm very excited and honored to have you in this book and bringing your beautiful legacies forward. And I just would love for you to share a little bit about why, because I know you have lots of different options out there of books that you consider and look at being part of, and was honored that you leaned into this one. And so I'd love to know why this book touched your heart and you wanted to be part of it.
Okay, so as you mentioned, it's more than 9 books already now, because a lot have come through this past few weeks. And, excuse me, I've written about my healing journey and my spirituality. This one is totally different because it ties in the generations. And my mother's mother always had a warm part in my heart. And my own mother now, as a grandmother, is struggling with cancer. And it was to honor both of them, but also show how the different traditions went from each generation and added to each other to the ones that are going to follow through past us. And as I said, my mother has the cancer. I was just with her today at the doctor, and we were thrilled because her immune system is good enough to spend Thanksgiving with us. So thank you, God, for that.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that she's going through that, but what a blessing that you will be able to celebrate and spend Thanksgiving with her. So I love that, and how you've leaned in and are sharing such beautiful, heartfelt wisdom and traditions in your chapter. And would you mind sharing the title of your chapter?
Connection and celebration. It connects all of the generations of grandparents down to grandchildren, and it lets the grandchildren know how they can follow the traditions.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing, and I so appreciate you being part of this book and part of this journey.
Thank you.
And our next expert, Carrie Hargraves, she is a creative, intuitive, and I love this, sparkly explorer, speaker, and author. And she's absolutely passionate about helping women discover and embrace their bold, brave, and badass selves. Please lean in and warmly welcome the amazing Carrie Hargraves. Welcome!
Yay! There should be glitter and bubbles and confetti.
I was sending that to you.
I could feel it.
Good.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for having me on. As always, I love talking to you.
Thank you. Well, I love having you join us, and you always bring such a sparkle and a joy in every conversation. So thank you for being here today. And I would love to hear why this book called to you and why you leaned into being part of it.
Well, I'll start with the crass commercial part. I always wanted to be a best-selling author. And this book came along, and I went, I can write one of those stories, and if I'm in one of Rebecca's books, I can now put best-selling author by my name.
Yes. Well, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. And we...
the other thing that drew me to it was this is actually a story I felt I could write. My grandmother was an awesome old broad, and I love being able to share her with the world.
Beautiful. And what did you call your chapter? I'd love to have you share that.
It's called Strong and Independent Women, A Legacy, because I cover both my grandmother and my mother down through me to my daughter.
Beautiful. And something that struck me about your chapter, and as I'm looking at how the book unfolded, you know, the stories, and yours in particular, has such kind of unexpected traits and characteristics that are shared. And I appreciate that, because I think sometimes we have this image of a grandmother or a mother or whatever, and there's such a richness in really actually getting to know them as women and some of that whole picture that they bring forth. And I feel like you shared that in your chapter, and I really appreciated that.
Well, thank you. I was trying to do that, because part of my message is about who you are beyond your role.
Exactly. So I appreciated that. So thank you. And I feel like that different way of looking at things, that creativeness and that sparkly explorer, now I understand a little bit of some of where those roots have come from with you. So it's just beautiful. So thank you, Carrie, for sharing. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And our next expert, Trina Swerdlow. She is an artist, a meditation teacher, assertiveness trainer, certified clinical hypnotherapist, and a transformational thought leader who is passionate about helping you find your voice, take back your precious body, and experience more love and joy. Please welcome the amazing Trina Swerdlow to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome, and I hope you felt like an artistic swirl sent your way as well.
I got it. Multicolored.
Good. Yes, exactly. Beautiful. Well, I'm very excited to have you join us and love your chapter and all that you've shared. And I'd like to have you share just a little bit of why this book called to you and why you leaned into being part of this project.
Mm-hmm. Well, as soon as I saw the grandmother focus of this book, I was in. It was signed, sealed, and delivered. I wanted to honor my grandmother, Rose, because she saved my life. And that's a big statement, but it's very, very true. And I also saw that this book was a way that I could tell more of my personal story than I've ever shared before in print. And I'm hoping that my story will inspire others. So I'm delighted to be a contributing author in this very, very important book.
Well, thank you, Trina. And I just so appreciate your chapter and all that you have brought forth in it, and your journey, and entrusting us with both the beautiful legacy of your grandmother, but also some of the imprint and footprints that have been created in your life in that, and sharing on the level that you did. I know it impacted my life, and I know it'll impact many of our readers. So thank you for being part of this. And would you share the title of your chapter?
Yes, my title is Childhood Safe Havens, Grandma Rose, and Expressive Art.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I was just wanting you to share, there's another way I know that you honored your grandmother. Do you mind sharing about that?
Well, I honored her some years ago. Are you talking about the doll?
I am.
Yeah. So some years ago, I created a doll to honor her. It's a fabric painted doll, and it looks quite a bit like her. I got the portrait on her face, and I created that to honor her, and a photo of it is going to be included in my chapter, so I'm delighted about that.
Exactly, and we're very excited to share that out as well. So thank you. Thank you for being part of the conversation today, and thank you so much for your beautiful chapter and powerful words that I know will impact and help so many. And then we have our lovely Kimmy Avery, who I just got to see almost 2 days in a row, right, Kimmy?
I know.
We just got to spend some time together on Saturday. And then yesterday even. So that was really wonderful to spend some time with you. And for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to meet Kimmy, I highly recommend it. You will just love her energy and her heart. She is a certified relationship coach, an NLP master practitioner and trainer, has a master's in counseling, and she's the creator of the Relationship Navigation System. She's absolutely passionate about helping men and women who are perhaps experiencing challenges in relating to each other in business and in their personal lives. And she's passionate about shifting that and really helping us better understand each other. Please lean in and warmly welcome the amazing Kimmy Avery to the show. Welcome!
Oh, yay! I'm so glad to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely excited to have you joining us today. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about why this book called to you and you leaned in and said yes.
I could not say no, first off, because my grandmother was an absolutely extraordinary woman, and an opportunity to honor her as a person just was it was an immediate yes. She had a way of being with people that has inspired me. It inspired my friends, my cousin's friends, my extended friends. People visited her all the time because of her way of being, this amazing way of listening and being with people. It was incredible.
Beautiful. And what did you call your chapter?
I called it Voraciously Curious, the Art of Deepening Connections Through Sacred Listening.
Beautiful. And that Voraciously Curious, I know, has become something that you use in a lot of the work that you do as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love how that's continuing.
It's interesting because it dovetailed with this chapter as I was producing a workshop called Voraciously Curious, and I went, oh my God, that's where the inspiration came to share this kind of listening. It was planted early on in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Love that. Love that. Love that. And that's something, as we were going on this journey, and I had the opportunity behind the scenes as I got to work with each author and experience their chapters unfolding and the journey, that what seemed to keep being discovered by authors is, oh, that's where that came from, or I didn't even realize this is an impact that has happened in my life. And so there's this rich connection that happened with like a deeper connection with their grandmothers and with that legacy, but then also kind of a deepening of roots within their own lives and the work that they're doing. And so I love how you just expressed that so beautifully, that that's kind of some of what happened. That's some of where that came from.
Absolutely. So, and just sharing that, our stories with other people. Oh my God, it's such a gift. Such a gift.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, Kimmy, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being part of this project and this. I just feel like this is a magical book, and I know it will have such an impact on your life and your spirit. And we've gotten some of our reviewer comments. We had some people that are outside the book review the book just to kind of get their thoughts on it, because we're so involved in it. And they were so touched. And some of them had wonderful relationships with the grandparents. Some did not. And yet they found themselves moved and reflecting on things and really being mindful about the legacy they're creating and bringing forth, and exploring where some of the seeds of the beautiful work that they are called to bring forward came from. And many of them were planted by past generations. And they so appreciated being able to pause and reflect on some of those things and have that wisdom and encouragement poured into their heart and spirit. So if we have time, I'll share one or two of those a little bit later on the show. If not, I will do it in one of our future segments. So something to look forward to. We hope that you will continue to join us for this special 4-part series. But as we go into this next commercial break, I want to invite you listeners to take a moment to pause, breathe, and use these next 2 minutes just for you, and think about perhaps a legacy that has been passed on to you. And what from that legacy do you choose to bring forward? We'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
This is the Voice America Women's Channel, where your success is limitless.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Relationship issues? Anxious? Parenting challenges? No more. Learn to live your best life. Tune into Straight Talk with top therapist, relationship, and anxiety expert Sandra Reish. Learn to transform your challenges into effective solutions. Whether it's relationships, parenting, anxiety, or other traps, Sandra will show you how you can live the life of your dreams. Listen live every Thursday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog, Press Pass? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective. Plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at vapresspass.com. That's vapresspass.com. VA Press Pass by Voice America. All access, all the time.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation. Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you took the opportunity to use those 2 minutes just for you to pause and breathe and reflect a little bit about legacies, things, traditions perhaps. Perhaps it's a way of being that has been passed on to you, or seeds that have been planted in your life that you also are growing and bringing forth to the world, creating your own legacies that you are passing on. I think it's important to think about these things from time to time and be deliberate and purposeful of what we choose, because we have choice, to echo out, to bring forth in the world, because we are creating our own legacy every single day. And with that perspective, I have asked the group of authors behind the scenes to just share a little bit about something that you, as a reader, should you lean into this book, which we hope you do, again, released on December 5th, we would love to give you a little taste of what you can look forward into their chapter, forward to seeing or experiencing in each of their chapters. I know you're going to hear a rich mixture of messages, wisdom, and be touched by what they will share. So, Trina, I would love to start with you.
Great. Well, in my chapter, of course, I'm going to shine light on my dear Grandma Rose and how she provided me a safe haven in, as I mentioned earlier, a very challenging childhood. That was why I felt like she saved my life. And unfortunately, I was raised in an extremely dangerous house, and I experienced lots of violence and even childhood sexual abuse. So I describe in my chapter that as a small child, I remember disappearing into my artwork. So the colorful crayons and paper were a way that I created a safe haven, and it was an imaginary world that actually gave me a break from the painful reality of my home life. And creating art also gave me a sense of power. So for this, I'm incredibly grateful that I had this outlet. And my chapter also includes an example of one of my pieces of childhood art, a very poignant piece that expresses a lot of the feelings that I was going through. And as we mentioned earlier, the painted doll that I created is also in my chapter, the doll of Grandma Rose that honors her. So it was such an experience to share more of my story. So I look forward to hearing how it impacts people.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And again, your transparency and the depth in which you go in your chapter, I know will touch lives. And those of you who do lean in, you'll get to see some of this beautiful artwork that she mentioned, and the expression within that, as well as the beautiful Grandma Rose doll. So thank you, Trina, for being part of this book and sharing in such a powerful and transparent way with our readers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carrie, how about you? What would you like to share about your chapter that they can look forward to experiencing?
Well, there's so much. I guess it's the kind of oddball journey that my grandmother took to becoming the amazing woman that I knew. She was born of Irish immigrants on the East Coast, raised as a good Irish Catholic girl, taken out of school at third grade to go to work. And by all odds, should have grown up and become a fairly traditional wife, mother, grandmother, and that just didn't happen. She tried for a long time, and an opportunity came for her to break loose from all of those roles and restrictions, and she just did it in a time when, for the most part, women didn't live independent lives. And that made her a serious role model for me, and probably as much as she would have hated to admit it, my mother as well. And I don't know, I just can't thank her enough for not being typical, because if she had been, I probably would have tried to have been, and have made several therapists very rich.
Thank you, Carrie, for sharing, and love the way that you have shown up in the world and choose to be and express yourself as a sparkly explorer. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And Kimmy, what would you like to share about your chapter that they can look forward to seeing and experiencing?
The experience of being seen is so deeply rare, especially in today's narcissistic world where most people selectively listen to others and focus only on what the conversation can do for them. My chapter is an example. It's about Granny Nanny. Everybody called her that. She held space for people in her life, and she listened with such amazing, voracious curiosity to everyone. And it's an example of the impact of that kind of listening and the kind of trust that builds and influence that builds with the people around you. And she did not do that from a place of, oh, I need to gain influence in the world. She did it from her heart and had this amazing way of being with people that people wanted to be with her. Oh, darling, it's so wonderful to see you, she would say anytime anyone walks through the door of her house. And what a way to be in the world. And I think of teaching the women I work with how they can be like that for their partners in their lives. And it just is such, I hope you read my chapter. I hope you get that from that. And we need more granny nannies in our lives.
Yes. I believe that. And the description that you give of her, I just love in your chapter. So as you were saying, darling, welcome, I just was smiling from ear to ear and really appreciate her way of being and connecting with others, but like her way of being in the world too, I just think is so beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah. And Rebecca, I said this when we were doing our preparatory calls for the book, and you are incredibly gracious. And one of the things that draws me to you, aside from the myriad of opportunities that you offer for me to market myself and all that wonderful stuff, is your way of being so reminds me of Granny Nanny. And I just love that about you. And I thank you for being that presence in my life and in the world.
Kimmy, thank you. I am deeply honored and humbled and moved by that. And I receive that and with just deep appreciation, and that I could even be a little bit like your grandma, and seen in that way is just, I don't even have words to express And no, I mean, truly, because I know how you see her. That. So I thank you. Yeah.
Well, and there's a humbleness about that is actually one of the things that is endearing, and it was present in my grandmother too, and I love that. So thank you for just receiving it.
Thank you. Well, and we'll see what our next author shares as well. So this has been such a rich experience for me personally, and I hope for all of you tuning in and listening. And Catherine, I'd love for you to share just a little bit of what they could look forward to in your chapter.
Okay, well, first I'd like to start with echoing what we've just talked about, that you are kind of my driving force. I feel like I'm learning a lot from you, and our connections have kept me going forward, knowing that these things are all possible. So thank you for that.
You are welcome, and I receive that as well, and deeply appreciate that. And listeners, I just want to take a moment, because sometimes when we are paid a deep compliment, or someone sees something in us, perhaps we see that or we don't, we have a tendency to brush it off or to make light of it. And I want to invite you to receive. When someone sees something incredible in you, that you acknowledge that and you receive that and take that in. What a gift to have something like that reflected back to you that is seen in you. And so I want to invite you, as those opportunities come and that rich gift, that someone pays a compliment or sees something in you and thanks you, to receive. And I receive all that you are sharing, and I'm very humbled and overwhelmed and without words in some ways, which isn't always good as a radio show host, but there you go, and receive. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Catherine, I'd love for you to share a little of what's in your chapter.
Okay. So what's really forefront in my chapter is the power of a hug. I didn't learn about hugging my own children until my grandchildren were born, because it wasn't forefront in my life. So now I learned how strong the connection can be from just having a hug. And the other thing I want to share is a paragraph that I wrote about my own mother. Her name is Gigi. So Gigi has a great sense of humor, and all her grandchildren look forward to what funny things she will say or do next. Although she now has a blood cancer, she has always been very strong, and they all know they can count on her to be supportive when they are down. The grandchildren and great-grandchildren love receiving hugs from Gigi. My son Richie told Gigi never to get rid of her house phone, because it's the only phone number he ever memorized. He joked and said, if I'm ever arrested, I would be able to call you. Laugh out loud. And that's been a running joke for so many years, and my mother just got rid of her home phone recently.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hopefully she didn't get that call in that way.
No, my children are all great children. I'm very proud of all of them.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing. And listeners, remembering the power of a hug, remembering the power of that connection really makes a difference. When we're in our holiday season and we're rushing around and doing all different kinds of things, remember to pause, remember to connect. As you heard the different things that our authors shared, the things that impacted them most, it was a way of being. It was a way of connecting. It was a way of encouraging. It was creating a safe place. And we can all make space in our hearts and our lives to do that for ourselves and for others. And I want to encourage you to do that in your life. And it has been a privilege and an honor to have each of you, our amazing co-authors, not only in this book, but also spending time with us today. listeners, I hope your heart has been touched. I hope you have something that has spoken into your spirit that you're able to take with you as you go back out into the world. We hope that you mark December 5th as that day you can lean into the Grandmother Legacies as we release that to the world. And I want to thank you for being on the journey and hope that you'll join us for our next exciting segment as we have a deep conversation with another group of our amazing authors. And with that, as you go back out into the world, may you purposely and with great love build a legacy that matters to you. I look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Women's Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.